Hello my dear friends and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Joy C. Joy and today in this lecture we will discuss about internal migration and the significance for a policy for internal migration. Let us start. Let us first understand what are the driving factors for internal migration. What is internal migration? It is the migration within the domestic territory of a country. So if a person or a family migrates from one place to another place in the same country, it is called internal migration. And internal migration is driven by both push and pull factors. Let us first understand what are the factors that drives or triggers internal migration in India. In India, one push factor for internal migration is the agrarian distress. Agrarian distress is often seen in the rural areas because agriculture is predominantly rural in nature, and because of this agrarian distress there is increased rates of rural to urban migration. So from rural to urban areas people migrate due to agrarian distress, and because of this agrarian distress there is a reduction in the income of the farmers and therefore the standard of living of the farmers comes down. So in order to increase their income opportunities or employment opportunities, they migrate from the rural areas to the urban areas of the same country. So this is one push factor for internal migration. And if we consider pull factor, urban areas provide better job opportunities or employment opportunities, and there is also better payment in the urban areas. So an increase in the better paying jobs in the urban areas, especially due to the rise in the service sector or growth of service sector, provides a lot of job opportunities in the urban areas. Let us take an example. Uber Eats. This is an online platform where you can order your food online and get it delivered at your place. So it is predominantly seen in the urban areas and some semi-urban areas. So due to this, many people get employment. This can be in the form of technical support or even at the lower level as the delivery person. So urban areas, because of this rise in the services sector, provides better opportunities for living and also better job opportunities, better payments, etc. So this is the pull factor. Other factors include distress due to unemployment or underemployment. Underemployment is predominantly seen in the agricultural sector. So natural calamities, input-output market imperfections, etc. leads to migration. Various data show that employment seeking is the principal reason for migration. It is in search of employment that a majority of the migration happen. Other causes are like education, better standard of living, etc. But the major cause is employment opportunities that are available in the urban areas or in some other areas, which leads to internal migration. Now, if we consider the benefits of migration, we will see that there is increased well-being of the households, especially for those people with higher skills and social connections and assets, because migration often leads to better employment opportunities. That means better income. This will increase the standard of living, especially for those who have skills or those who have acquired the skills. They will get better job opportunities, and with the higher skills they will get more income and the standard of living will increase. Thereby the well-being of the family itself will increase. Secondly, migration helps in improving the economic condition of the people belonging to lower caste, because by migration they are able to find better job opportunities, and this better job opportunities will provide them with better income, better standard of living. So it helps in improving the economic condition of the people. And also it improves the credit worthiness of the family members, because if a person from the family migrates in search of a better job and if he is able to find a better job, his income level will increase. So the dependents or the family staying back in original village or in the original place will have a financial security because the person is earning more income. So the credit worthiness of the family also will improve. Now let us also understand what are the problems of migration. First major problem of internal migration in India is the lack of skills, because most of the people who migrate in search of better jobs, they are unskilled, and because of lack of skills possessed by them, they find difficulty in entering the job market or in the labor market, and even if they enter, because of their absence of skills, they are paid very less. So lack of skills is one major issue with regard to internal migration in India. The second one is excess of migration leads to urban informal economy. When the rate of migration improves or increases, especially to urban areas, the urban areas will not be able to provide facilities to enhance the standard of living of this increased population. For example, basic facilities like drinking water, transportation, accommodation, etc. So, when the number increases, the informality of the urban economy also increases. The urban sector are not able to absorb the large number of rural workers entering into the urban labor market, and this has led to the growth of urban informal economy, and when the urban informal economy expands, it leads to higher levels of poverty and vulnerabilities. Also, these unskilled workers in the urban informal sector, they are paid very poorly, and most of them involved in self-employed work. Another problem is the discrimination. Also, there are issues of inequality. According to 2014 data, the migrant workers earn only 2/3 of what is earned by the non-migrant workers. That means there is clear-cut inequality between non-migrant workers and the migrant workers. So discrimination and inequality is also another issue that is associated with internal migration in India. And next is the huge cost of migration. Under the cost of migration, the search cost is included. That means the time with which they are able to find the work. And also in many cases, there are incidents where the migrants are cheated. And also, when the state is not able to provide healthcare and education to this increased number of migrants, the cost increases. That means we have seen that due to rural-urban migration, the urban informal economy has expanded. So what happens? Urban informal economy is not able to provide basic necessities to the increasing number of migrants like drinking water, health facilities, basic education, etc. So what will the migrants do? They will have to spend from their own pockets in order to meet this basic requirements. So this will again escalate the cost of living of these migrants. And in order to meet this increased cost of living, in many cases the migrants borrow from their employers. So finally they will end up in a debt trap. So these are all the issues associated with the internal migrants in India. Now let us understand what are the factors that affects the employment of these migrants. According to a study, less than 20% of the urban migrants are able to get a pre-arranged job. That means before migrating to a place, you find a job, that is pre-arranged job. So only 20% of the people have first found the job and then secondly migrated. But the rest 80%, what do? They migrate first and secondly they try to find a job. So it clearly shows how informal is the economy. And nearly 2/3 of the migrants managed to find out a work within 1 week of their migration. So now, can you tell me what is the reason behind this? Only 20% are able to find the job prior and then migrate. The reason is that the education levels of the rest 80% is low. So if the migrants have high education level or better skills, they will be better able to find the jobs. This is due to the education levels of the migrants. Secondly, access to information regarding employment availability is an important factor that triggers the rate of employment. So, social networking sites have played a major role in this, and this has significantly reduced the period of time with which the migrants find the job. Now, let us understand what is the significance of an internal migration policy in India. Why should we need an internal migration policy? The first reason is the increasing number of migrants day by day. So, the government has been trying to address the issues of the migrants, and the government is trying to provide human development schemes or financial services to the migrants. There are also poverty reduction schemes. But what has to be done? There should be an effort to reduce reduce the distress-induced migration, and secondly to address the conditions of work, terms of employment, access to basic necessities, etc. So this should be the focus of the government, and the government should also try to consider the push factors. For example, we have seen agrarian distress as a push factor. So there are certain reasons for which the rate of migration improves or increases. So government must be able to address those issues. Now let us see some recommendations of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Poverty Alleviation. The first recommendation was regarding the interstate operability of PDS. PDS is the public distribution system. So the ministry recommended that the migrants should be able to avail the benefits of public distribution system. So the public distribution system is where you get the subsidized food grains. So if you are coming from a particular state, you would be linked to the PDS of that particular state. So if you migrate to a different state, you will not be able to get the benefits of PDS, at least for some period of time in which you get registered with the PDS. But by that time, the migrant will have to spend more money on purchasing food grains for the family. So the ministry recommended that there should be a provision for interstate operability of the PDS so that the food requirements of the migrants will be met through the PDS system. Second recommendation was regarding the elimination of domicile status. So ministry recommended that the states should be encouraged to proactively eliminate the requirement of a domicile status to prevent any discrimination in the work and employment. Certain states give preference to the residents of that particular states in case of certain employment. So that should be eliminated. Thirdly, the ministry recommended that the states should include migrant children in the annual work plans under Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan to uphold the right to education. The fourth recommendation was to ease the remittances. So, suppose a person who has migrated from a different state stays in a different state, he will have to transfer the money to his family. So, in many cases it has been seen that these migrants use informal services or remittance services to deposit this money. So, this ministry recommended that there should be a vast network of post offices in order to efficiently remit the money to the family of the migrants. And fifth one was regarding the bank accounts. The migrants should be enabled to open their bank accounts, and this should be based on KYC norms according to the RBI guidelines, and there should be an ease for the migrants to open the new bank accounts in the migrated areas. That is, the banks should not insist on unnecessary documents for opening the bank accounts. So this will lead to formalization of the this will lead to financial inclusion of the migrants. The next recommendation was regarding the use of Construction Workers Welfare Cess Fund, and there has been a large unutilized fund in this. So this should be used to promote rental housing, working women's hostels, etc. so that the migrants will get better accommodation facilities. So these were the recommendations provided by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Poverty Alleviation. Now, what has to be done in order to enhance the lives of these migrants? There should be a clear-cut distinction between policy interventions for migrants for survival and migrants for employment. Also, the local bodies and the NGOs should play a proactive role in enhancing the lives of these migrants. They will be able to bring in structural changes in the local regions. This can provide a better standard of living for the migrants. There should be policies and schemes for the skill development. We have seen skill development is the major hindrance towards the entrance of these migrants into the labor market. So, skill development must be given focus. There should also be independent interventions aimed specifically at addressing the needs of individual and household migrants. Individual migrants will have a different set of needs and household migrants different set of needs. So this must be addressed specifically. There should be access to infrastructure like housing, sanitation, healthcare, education, etc. So household migrants will need more of this than the individual migrants. So policies should be framed separately for household as well as individual migrants. Various interventions should also complement to each other. That means the policies of the government should be supported by market-led interventions. For example, government intervenes in employment-related activities. So, market can support it by providing microfinance, etc. And improved financial infrastructure is also very important. This will enhance the smooth flow of remittances to the family. So these are all required in order to enhance the internal migration in India, in order to provide them with better living standards and better income. You can find the PDF of this lecture on my Facebook page. I wish you all a very good day. Thank you.